Thanks for joining us at 10. I'm Kyle Clark.
And I'm Kim Christensen. A woman is in the Weld County Jail tonight accused of kidnapping a 3-year-old girl in Greeley.
Officers eventually found the girl with help from the community. 9 News reporter Rachel Krause is along. Rachel, the girl was not physically hurt.
No, Greeley police say she was taken to a hospital to be checked out and has been reunited with her family. But they say this scary situation ended quickly after getting help from the town.
When a child goes missing, there's all hands on deck.
A missing girl is home safe again after investigators say she was kidnapped near her home on Monday. Greeley police say they got a call from the child's mom around 6:20 when she couldn't find her 3-year-old.
The mom had seen her go to a neighbor's house in the apartment complex, saw her open the door, and thought she had gone in there. Dad came home and went to go get the child and realized that she wasn't there, so the family immediately started looking for her. And when they couldn't find her in the vicinity, that's when they called the police.
Kristen Dewis with Greeley police says they jumped into action but didn't put out an Amber Alert.
When we initially put out the message that she was missing, we had no indication that she had been kidnapped. So with an Amber Alert, we need to have proof of an imminent body harm, suspect description. We had none of that at that time.
Instead, they sent out a reverse 911, essentially an alert to people within 5 miles of where the girl was last seen, and posted on social media with photos and descriptions of the child. Within an hour, tips from the community poured in with sightings of the girl with a woman.
So Canine Onyx had alerted to her scent, which helped us pinpoint the neighborhood that she was in, and then the multiple tips coming in and people pointing to our officers as they were driving down the street, showing that that's the direction that they had went, and our officers were able to see the woman and the child walking down the street once they got onto that road.
30-year-old Mariah Martinez was arrested. She and the girl were found just a mile from the child's home. Greeley police don't believe the woman knew the child. They say Martinez's intent with the child isn't yet clear.
It's an active investigation, so we can't say what her motive is at this time.
Dewis says she's proud of the way the community jumped in to help. Tips and sightings that helped bring that 3-year-old home.
And if we had not been able to get that message out so quickly, she wouldn't have been able to be found within that hour and 20 minutes or so. This really shows that we've got a community that's banded together.
Martinez is being held in the Weld County Jail. She's due in court tomorrow. Rachel Krause, 9 News.
The city of Denver says a breakdown in procedures led to its outdoor tornado siren sounding yesterday, even though there was no threat of a tornado. Third time this year, Denver's mistakenly sent out emergency alerts to the entire city or put out incorrect emergency messages. The city's Office of Emergency Management admits the sirens were activated inadvertently by the Denver Fire Department. So somebody called 911 to report what they thought was a tornado. They were wrong. That report somehow made its way to a small team of 5 people on shift with Denver Fire who have access to activating the city's sirens. Somebody on the team punched a button, even though there was not a confirmed tornado or even a tornado warning.
A very well-intended employee trying to see the safety of our residents got a call about a sighting of a tornado and activated the sirens without the verification process. He didn't follow the protocol.
Standard protocol is that once a tornado warning is issued by the National Weather Service, the sirens are automatically activated and a wireless alert is sent out to phones in the city. There's a tornado watch yesterday, not a tornado warning when somebody hit the button.
I-70 is finally starting to get back to normal after a fire led to an hours-long closure near Glenwood Springs. CDOT says both eastbound lanes are now open after about 6 hours of being closed. Officials say the westbound lanes are opening in stages. The Garfield County Sheriff's Office says the Paradise Fire is to blame as of tonight. The Glenwood Springs Fire Department says the flames have burned about 10 acres. And in Eagle County, an evacuation order is in place for the area south of Crooked Creek Pass because of the Thomasville fire. Officials say firefighting efforts have been hurt by the high winds and challenging terrain there. Got hot so quickly. Kathy, got that rain yesterday, but not enough.
Not enough. And gusty winds today with temperatures near 90 did not help firefighters in their efforts. And we had some dry lightning around the area and some isolated thunderstorms that produced wind instead of rain today. We're still under a high fire danger risk for tomorrow. Red flag warnings will be posted for critical and elevated fire danger and the threat of dry lightning over southern Colorado. Temperatures today in the upper 80s, still very mild out there. Thankfully, the wind is let up somewhat. It's not calm, but it's an improvement over what we saw earlier today with 50-mile-per-hour winds in the mountains and foothills. The red flag warning canceled at 9, reinstated tomorrow for Denver and most of Colorado. Humidity values could go into the single digits and winds go back to 40 and 50 miles per hour. Severe thunderstorm watch for southeastern Colorado has canceled. We're tracking some welcome rain showers on that I-76 corridor. The wind advisories in Wyoming have also canceled, and most of the severe weather reports coming in today were for thunderstorm wind gusts 50 to 60 miles per hour. That severe threat now pushing into North Platte and down toward the Oklahoma City area. We're going to see a clearing trend, a calmer weather trend overnight, but the winds return with a vengeance tomorrow for many areas, especially along the foothills, and that's going to dry out the atmosphere. More sunshine, less cloud cover. Highs are in the 90s tomorrow after a very mild overnight period. So coming up, the timing and impact of the critical fire weather forecast, and then a look ahead to a cooler weather change at the end of the week.
Tonight, new U.S. strikes against Iran, a day after President Trump said the war could be over in days, something he said time and time again.
And tonight, Iran has fired back. Jordan says they shot down 5 Iranian missiles targeting a base that hosts U.S. service members. 9 News anchor Phil Lipoff is here. Phil, this is in response to the downing of an American helicopter just yesterday.
Yeah, and those missiles from Iran to Jordan is a response to the downing of that chopper. So this is now a back and forth in just the last hour or so. First, we want to tell you that both pilots aboard that chopper that was downed are recovering and are safe tonight. In response to that attack, the president took to social media and, as you mentioned, promised retaliations. Just hours later, we saw it. U.S. Central Command said overseas operations in the region called the attack a proportional response to an unjustified Iranian aggression. And they say they struck Iranian air defense, ground control stations, and surveillance radar sites near Hormuz. No word yet on how much damage that's done. But Iran's foreign minister said foreign forces in Iranian territory are at constant risk on account of their own human errors, plane accidents, or potentially being caught in the crossfire. And now we know it's even more than that because, as you mentioned, Jordan is reporting that they shot down 5 Iranian missiles. They are also reporting that no one was hurt in those strikes this evening. Nothing from the U.S. government just yet. And despite all this renewed fighting, the president says he believes Iran still wants to secure a peace deal with the United States. So far, 13 U.S. service members have been killed since this war began, and gas prices here in the U.S. still remain high. Kyle?
Bill, thank you. A bill to fund President Trump's mass deportation agenda is now headed to his desk for his signature. Today, the Republican-controlled House narrowly passed a $70 billion package to fund ICE and Border Patrol through the end of Trump's term. It cleared the Senate last week. Passage follows months of drama on this issue. In February, Senate Democrats refused to approve funding for immigration enforcement without reforms. That came after 2 American citizens were shot and killed in Minneapolis during immigration operations. That led to a month-long shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security. That shutdown eventually ended when Republicans agreed to fund much of the agency, including ICE and Border Patrol. Money for most of the government expires again September 30th. The Trump administration is working to strip U.S. citizenship from 17 people through denaturalization. One of those folks is here in Colorado. Maria Lourdes Montoya lives in Commerce City. She became a U.S. citizen in 1997. A federal complaint filed this month claims that she obtained citizenship fraudulently, claimed to be married to a U.S. citizen. Court docs say her husband had assumed the identity of a dead person. And prosecutors claim Montoya knew her husband's true identity when she applied for citizenship. Hers is one of 17 denaturalization cases the Trump administration filed in 1 week. On average, the federal government pursues about 10 per year.
But this particular move right now, really revoking individual citizenship and targeting that in such a large fashion, really is somewhat unique, but also really reflective of the hardcore stance that the Trump administration has taken against immigration, undocumented immigration in particular.
When someone is denaturalized, they typically revert back to their prior immigration status, like if they're a lawful permanent resident. Whether the administration would then try to revoke that prior status is still an open question.
Colorado is facing a lawsuit over a new state law that requires more inspections at immigration detention facilities. The law expands the state health department's authority to carry out more health and safety inspections at immigration detention facilities like the one the private prison contractor Geo Group operates in Aurora. Those detention centers will also have to pay for environmental impact studies. Facilities that don't comply could face fines or lose their license. In a new lawsuit, the Geo Group argues the state can't interfere with federal immigration operations. They're asking a federal court to block enforcement. Within the last half hour, the Littleton City Council approved a plan for a Peyton Manning-inspired event hub.
The city's agreeing to give millions of dollars and years of tax breaks to a Denver-based restaurant group to build it. 9 News reporter Spencer Soisher joins us from Littleton. Spencer, tell us about Peyton's place.
That's a good one. I like that. Those people that were here earlier wearing all the 18 stuff, they're leaving happy. This passed narrowly with a 4-3 vote. It would be built across the street from the South Platte Park River's open space. Documents submitted to the city show it's really just a wedding venue space as well as a restaurant with some outdoor turf fields built around it as well. But the group that was submitting this to the city had Peyton's face and name all over their documents. Judging by this room in Littleton, Peyton Manning may still be the most popular person in all of Colorado.
It's backed by a great athlete. He doesn't own it, but hey, his name's on it, so awesome.
Which might explain why a Denver restaurant group is using his image to ask for something Littleton has never given anyone, a public-private partnership. $2 million in city funds up front and a 5-year sales tax break to build out a wedding venue and restaurant it says will provide, quote, regional tourism and a Peyton Manning brand for Littleton.
You know, Peyton Manning's super exciting. I think the project is super exciting. I think it'll bring a big crowd to Littleton.
Councilmember Merrill Stillwell wants the Gustamo Group's First Street farm, but he's not sure about the deal.
The decision before us is whether to give them a $5.5 million economic incentive package. That's all we can control.
Gustamo Group CEO Peter Newland showed up to the city council vote in a Manning jersey and with a Broncos helmet. Manning didn't. The proposal to the city with Manning's likeness includes a wedding venue, turf fields out front, and a restaurant that serves shrimp and grits, like in New Orleans where Manning grew up. No chicken parm.
Chicken parm, you taste so
But documents shared with the council show Manning's involvement is promotional.
Will people travel to Littleton for this? I believe they will.
The alternative for the land was to use it for 270 townhomes. But the city's own analysis says that alternative would cost Littleton $5 million in net fiscal losses over 30 years.
I'm a Broncos fan myself. And again, you know, we've just got to look at the value of the project, what it's bringing to the city, and what they're asking of us.
We were thinking they should also have Omaha Steaks at this as well. I asked the Gustamo Group CEO for an interview before the meeting tonight to see if he could explain why they're deserving of this incentive from the city. He said he didn't want to meet with us before the vote happened. He declined and said, this project is to, quote, better Colorado, though. Live in Littleton, Spencer Soisher, 9 News.